week is National Apprenticeship Week, which always culminates with our highly anticipated Cheshire College South and West Annual Apprenticeship Awards, which celebrate the achievements of our apprentices who have exceeded expectations and made significant contributions to their workplaces. Today we're joined by Jeff Dawson, Managing Director of First Enable, who are one of our employer sponsors of the Apprenticeship Awards. And we're going to discuss with Jeff the real value apprenticeships can have both for the individual themselves and for the organisation that they're with. So Jeff, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and explaining a bit more about First Enable, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the opportunity to sponsor something that's very worthwhile, and First Enable are very much behind. We are a specialist learning disability supported living company. We've been open since November 2012 to where we are now, where we employ over 450 people. We currently support around 250 people in the community where they actually belong, which is fundamental to our own ethos, etc. We've done some great work taking people out of long stay hospitals, so we're doing a fantastic job. All our staff are in progressing individuals, finding them even jobs themselves, paid jobs. We run several enterprises in and around the Cheshire West area, including some cafes that you may well be familiar with, such as the library in Ellesmere Port, and also the Whitby Park cafe as well, although that's temporarily closed at the moment. So we do a huge amount back into the community as well. So it's very much about having a community feel and enabling the people that we support, and the staff for that matter, to have a valid contribution to the communities of Cheshire.
Fantastic, that's great. And obviously we're here today to talk about apprenticeships, and this year's theme for National Apprenticeship Week is all about building for the future. And I'm interested to hear how First Enable, how you have built your workforce through apprentices, through completing apprenticeships, and how it works within your organisation.
Well, effectively, I've not always been in care. I have sort of a business background, if you like, in finance and insurance previous to that. So my involvement was, I came on board my own company, if you like, in 2016, of which effectively I was an apprentice myself. And that's very much how we view apprenticeships within First Enable, that it is, everybody needs to kind of learn our way, because we do think that we're unique how we approach things. So that for everybody that starts at First Enable, everyone's an apprentice, not least myself, and I continue to learn. So even when people are finished their apprenticeship, they're still learning and still developing within First Enable, and training is very high on our agenda. Well, our strapline is delivering on your potential. Now that's particularly aimed at the people that we support and the progressive model of care that we've got. But equally, we found that works very nicely with the culture that we've got in promoting the development of our people from apprentices right through their careers. And certainly once somebody gets onto our career ladder, if you like, we are very much interested in taking our own people and promoting them from within as well. So, it's not just the start of apprenticeships. It's right through the development and career of an individual. So certainly anybody who's on the apprenticeship route in the college, it gives that sort of motivation and that extra interest that we're taking them through a career project here, not just we need more bums on seats type thing, so.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of progression, what kind of roles have apprentices have progressed onto, like you said, in terms of you taking them through that career? Can you give any examples of that at all?
Yeah, we've got several examples I can think of where we've taken people on, and very much we see apprentices as very much part of the whole team, if you like. That, you know, we don't sort of look at them and say, well, you're not kind of part of the team, you're just an apprentice. Absolutely not. You're part of the team. Apprentice, you know, intern, manager, whoever, you're very much part of that. So it's important that everybody kind of performs their own job specification, if you like, with obviously help and development and training within that. So we've got several individuals that started off as apprentices, support workers, and who are now, as the company's grown, because we are very much a dynamic, rapidly growing company, we've increased in size probably 5-fold in the last 3 years, which not only creates opportunities for the people that we support with that growth, but also the development and career paths of the individual staff. So we've got people now that started off right at the bottom rung, if you like, of the ladder, who are now sort of at sort of senior management level, who've shone through a grit and determination, a certain ethos that we agree with. So every single member that is an established member of First Enable, we have our own little term for it called First Enablers, you know. So that's more about the culture and the organisation and what we want to achieve, you know, with each member of staff, regardless of where you are on that ladder, that career ladder, you know.
Fantastic. And in terms of when you're looking and hiring apprentices, what do you look for within an apprentice? What do you look for to think, yeah, they can become a first enabler, like you said, they've got that kind of ethos and values?
I think I'm probably safe to say this would be for most employers. You know, first and foremost for me, working is about attitude. It's about effort. It's about that willingness to open your eyes to change. Businesses don't run like they used to hundreds of years ago, where it would be very much like, well, here's your box, sit in it, and we want you to, you know, push out widgets or whatever, you know, in a very mundane sort of way. The modern day employer, or the very good modern day employers, want a flexible workforce that can kind of adapt, because we have to adapt these days. You know, business is a really competitive place. Social care is in an extremely competitive place at the moment, you know, so having a flexible workforce, which is why apprentices are very much welcome in our organisation, because they the youth tend to be flexible. You know, you're not quite formed yet, you know, and that's a good thing. You know, if you've got somebody established in certainly health and social care, you know, and say to me, I've got 30 years experience, that doesn't excite me too much. What does excite me, whether they've been in the industry 30 years or they've been in five minutes, is how they approach their job. What is it they can bring? How can we take soft skills that they've often learned through hobbies and things like that, and adapt them and work them within their working day and their patterns? Because often enough, people, when you scratch the surface, have been doing other things that are absolutely fantastic and very valuable to us. You know, so your CV sometimes isn't necessarily the important factor. It is the fact that actually you've done some interesting things as a youth. You know, you've maybe done Duke of Edinburgh Award or something like that, you know, where you've actually gone to a care home and done some work in there and made somebody's life brilliant before maybe they passed away. You know, it's something that is in somebody, certainly in health and social care anyway. So it's kind of, it's nurturing what's already within someone and bringing it out, as opposed to, oh, they're fantastic because they've worked for this company for so many years and they got to this position. It doesn't really excite me as much as somebody who's got thrust, drive, eagerness, etc.
Fantastic. And in terms of the apprenticeships that you offer at First Enable, can you give us a bit of an insight into the different ones that you do offer?
Yeah, so the apprenticeships that we offer are based off the individual that we support. So we see, if I use the word customer for a second, I mean, there's so much more than customers, the people we support. But if I look at it as a customer, every business has to look at its customer and understand what what that customer wants from the organisation, why they choose you. It's no different in supported living, you know. They can choose who they want their support by. So we need apprentices or any of our staff to be very flexible around, you know, the needs and wishes of an individual. And an individual's wishes and needs often will evolve and change through time. So it's important for us to look at that individual and actually match them against the person that they're supporting. So, for example, we have some people that have come through our service that we found out they've got a FA coaching badges to coach football. Well, a lot of our lads that we support love football. So we have in the past, for example, said, right, we're going to take that unique skill that is not on your CV, because actually, why would it be if you're, if you thought about it, why would it be if you were applying for a support worker in a health and social care? Actually, to us, it's vital to understand that information, because suddenly I've now got a support worker that can put together a football team which helps support that individual in some of the activity-based type things. That becomes very interesting to the individual, of course. You know, that actually they're going to work and doing something that they really enjoy and getting paid for it. You know, success to me for anybody who works in First Enable, and I suppose I keep sort of detracting from the apprenticeship, but I've sort of put that thrust about it, that apprenticeships, and certainly in our organisation, are very much viewed as part of the team, part of the workings of that, as much as managers are and directors on our boards. You know, it's all part and parcel. So to get an individual and match them with another individual, success to me is when somebody says, well, I went home and my partner, mum, dad, whatever, said, what did you do at work today? And they go, well, funny enough, I ended up coaching some lads, some football. Did you go to work today is usually the answer that people get back, you know. So I know that in my mind, that's success. That's success for the individual that we're supporting, most importantly. But it's equally success for the support worker, because I wouldn't want to leave a job that basically I absolutely loved. You know, that I didn't just see it as a job 9 to 5 or whatever like that. That actually I want to do that because actually I'm doing something that I really wanted to do. And we've got many different jobs and roles in First Enable that we put in the bracket support worker, but actually, are you really doing support work? It's more a coaching role on something that is you've got an interest in, as well as the person that you're supporting, you know.
Definitely. And if that's something, I know you mentioned like the FA badges that might not necessarily be on a person's CV because they might not think it's relevant to the role they're applying for. In terms of advice, would you say that you should most definitely put stuff like that on your CVs just to kind of give scope to yourself as an individual outside of work, but also the fact that there could be little nuggets within those hobbies, interests, non-curricular activities and qualifications that you've gained that could actually be really useful and insightful for a prospective employer?
Yeah, certainly from if somebody was applying to a job for me, I want to know the kind of background, what makes you tick, you know, yes, I probably need a certain amount of academic understanding, you know, like, yeah, you know, you can read, for example, or something like that, you know, but even then, I haven't said that, because we support people. I support our staff as much as we support individuals. We're also will make adjustments for individuals at the same time, you know, to get the best out of them. So actually, it is all about that soft information. What can I get out of an individual? What do you actually bring on there? So yeah, I want to see that. I mean, we've had some very sort of minor things. Came across somebody the other day who just happened to put, actually they had a psychology degree, which it almost like, you know, and this is the other end of the scale, I suppose, to this person who had the FA qualification, but they themselves, we could use that psychology degree and their experience of getting that psychology degree in something called our PBS team, which is an angle some people go off on that don't want to go into management, for example. We're not the type of company either that see opportunities in progression necessarily in management. It could be in another area, a bit more bespoke, and we have internships in relation to that element of the job. So it can be quite technical at the same time if somebody wanted to go off in that direction. It may well be we're a stepping stone into the National Health Service as well. The National Health Service is on a great big drive at the moment for new recruits. As social care is, it's no different. We've got massive needs. I think at any given time in social care there's about 120,000 people that we need in to do vital work. Our work then feeds into the National Health Service because we often stop people from going into the National Health Service, and even vice versa, bring people out of the National Health Service, which saves the country money, etc., and gives people a better life in their own communities. So we could be seen as a very useful stepping stone into National Health Service, which is possibly where a lot of students through health and social care courses would probably go through, So never fear that, if you wanted a career in health, social care doesn't seem the right fit, because actually it very much does. And we've got lots of examples where people have come through our service and we've gladly passed them on almost fully trained, if you like, in social care and how that works into the National Health Service, which actually helps us in the long run, because by having people who have a broader understanding of the health and social care sector can see how it all should interact and how we work together. So there's all sorts of routes and directions. This is not a one-stop shop really. Certainly First Naval isn't anyway.
And you've literally just touched upon my next question there, Jeff, which was obviously apprenticeships have many benefits for the apprentice themselves, but also for organisations. And it's just touching upon what you would say is that real value of apprenticeships. How do they value, for you as a managing director, how do apprenticeships benefit your organisation, as you mentioned, and the individual that comes and joins you as well?
I think what's exciting to me about First Naval is we have over 450 staff. If I look at it a different way, I don't have 450 support workers. I have 450 unique people bringing their own interests, their own attitude, their own knowledge, and bringing that all into one focused point. And it's absolutely vital. Everybody on that come in and work, and we have a very open debate and forum in there. There's no idea never gets considered that come from the people that we employ. Apprentices are no different to that. They often bring fresh ideas. One of the reasons why I think we're a successful company is because I've come into health and social care at a very late time and went, why are you doing it like this? Why are you doing it like that? And we're really shaking trees, collectively. It's not just me, but collectively we're really shaking trees, because I'm bringing all these people with all these ideas, which is upsetting a lot of our competitors, which is fantastic, because the bottom line is we're serving our customers better because we're listening to them better and bringing those ideas out. But equally the staff that we employ as well, we're listening to what they do, the apprentices, what they can bring. A vibrant, fresh apprentice I'd take every day over somebody who's been in care 40 years, who's done it one way every time. Yes, they'll have some skills that they've got, but these are skills that you can easily teach, through time. So it's about those fresh ideas, that energy, and that's what an apprentice brings to me potentially. So
fantastic. And in terms of if there's any learners out there now who are considering an apprenticeship, particularly in health and social care, have you got any advice, any nuggets of wisdom that you could give them to kind of take the plunge, I guess?
Well, I think in health and social care we're in a really rosy situation against the rest of the rest of the economy at the moment. But I think even generally over the economy, it gives people the chance to look at their chosen career path, if you like, and make sure it is for them. Sometimes it's not, but this is a great way to get into a particular industry and learn the ropes. My background, I started off, I went into A levels. It was an absolute time, if I'm honest. And this is the important thing for any apprentice. I'm not particularly academically gifted at any stretch of the imagination, but I grafted from the bottom and worked extremely hard with the energy an apprentice has, albeit I wasn't an apprentice. I wished I was. I should have come out of my GCSEs with decent grades that I did and then get into an apprenticeship. I think it would have fast-tracked my knowledge a lot quicker than I did. I had to find out the hard way and kind of start, in an industry I wasn't cared about, because actually that was just where there was a job at that particular time, and I had to sort of meander my way. An apprenticeship probably gives an apprentice, in my opinion, focus on where they want to, the line of travel that they're wanting to go in, and bring energy and enthusiasm and effort, and you'll be a winner. And if you look at some of the most successful people in the world, and I'm not talking about success in monetary terms necessarily, but equally I'm talking about people with that monetary success, the Richard Bransons of this world, etc. They all started off right at the bottom line and just rolled their sleeves up, didn't show fear, did all the right things at the right time, tried stuff out, and they got to where they want through sheer grit and determination. Almost channel impatience. That one day, if you stick to your guns and stick to where you want to go to, and kind of enjoy yourself along the way, use the job as a tool to enjoyment. So that's sometimes just a mindset. I remember being in a pretty dead-end job at one point. I was earning good money, but it was really dead-end. And I just changed the mindset, and all of a sudden, rather than jumping jobs, which is what often a lot of people do, I ended up with a different shift where I was in mortgages at the time, I remember, and I was sick of doing mortgages. They were all bland and they did everything exactly the same. And then I ended up actually changing my mindset to say, well, what do I do every day? Actually, what I am doing is I'm going out to meet people every day. I'm meeting my customers. All of a sudden, I changed my mindset and my job became very interesting, because I was more interested in actually the person sitting opposite me. I was having a discussion about their mortgage but actually I could easily have a discussion about what they like, or where they were going on holiday or whatever, which is what I like doing. You can probably tell I talk too much.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it's an opportunity to, it's an opportunity to shape yourself as an apprenticeship, in my view.
Amazing advice there in terms as well, having that kind of can-do attitude, the willingness to learn, and great determination. All great stuff there. Well, thank you very much for that, Jeff, and thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
No problem. Thank you very much for that.